Okay, good day everyone. My name is Christian Reyes Ibido and I am the leader of Group 3. So our topic for today is the Material and Economic Self by William James. So first, let us examine the objectives. So at the end of the lecture, the students will understand the material self and economic self of an individual. The students will also be able to differentiate the material self and economic self. So let's proceed. The self is all things, things a person believes to be his or her and contribute to be his or her material. That is according to William James. Meaning, the self, uh, all things in life that surrounds a person is the self. All things, including your properties, your belongings, will contribute to yourself for in knowing yourself. So, who is William James? William James is a psychologist and philosopher who had a major influences on the development of psychology in the United States. Among his many accomplishments, he was the first to teach a psychology course in the US and is often referred to as the father of American psychology. So William James is a big person. He is the known he is known as the father of American psychology. And that is William James. The main idea of William James' study about self is what we call as the empirical self. William James used the term empirical self to refer all the various ways people answer the question who am I? Meaning James has defined the empirical self as me of our personality. It includes everything which belongs to that person. Me of a man is the sum total of the things to which he can call his. That means as his property. Social self is classified. Empirical self is classified into three categories: the material self, the social self, and the spiritual self. The material self, it is everything that a person owns. It is everything material that you have, that a person has. It is it also pertains to the objects, places, or when people which have the label mine, which he can call mine. Such possessions are viewed as of individual identities. So meaning the material self is everything that could be seen as a property of a person, will leads to understand the self or the personality of that person. And the social self is everything that connects the person socially. You might interact with family members, friends on social media, have a meeting with a boss or a coworker, and talk to someone you're interested in dating. All of these moments and how we feel about ourselves during with them make up our social self. Our social self relate to how we perceive ourselves in relation to others, to how we react or how we act when we are with the other person. And the spiritual self means that our uh, self is known by means of spiritual, meaning your inner self leads you, that provides you with a profound source of how you interact with other spiritually, that leads you to understand yourself. Another is The spiritual self of a person is composed of the consciousness state of that individual. For example, that person likes to go to the church to pray. It is his habit, so that is his spiritual self. He likes to pray every night. He treat other people spiritually with a good heart. That is his spiritual self. James has defined the empirical self as me of our personality. It includes everything which belongs to that person. Me of a man is the sum total of things to which he can call his. That's what I said earlier. And lastly, pure ego refers to a pure principle of personal identity. Personal ego, to be precise, is the overall understanding of self since a person is born. That is his destined. That is his fate. That is his destiny to have a personality, and that is what we call the pure ego. Change. It is ideal. It can't be changed. That is his or her pure principle of personal identity. And that's all. To continue, let me call on Mr. Watten to continue the report.
Hello everyone, my name is Sat Ewatin and today I am going to discuss the four components of material self. So again, material self is the things that we have that expresses us. So the four components are the body, the clothes, the immediate family, and home. So our body is the innermost part of our material self because we are directly attached to this commodity that we cannot live without. So obviously, without our body, it is impossible to live because we need our organs and our systems in order to live. And because of this, we invest in make sure to be healthy all the time and as much as possible uh, we don't want to get sick. So we tend to invest, like in vitamins or uh, our medicine since we were a child to keep our body healthy. And we have a certain intimate closeness to certain parts of because of its value to us. Some people, especially celebrities, invest a lot in their bodies because they're always on camera and it is their source of income. Some people have specific part that's valuable, like a person who's a face model on a certain makeup company. Of course, they're gonna be investing more on their face because it is part of their income. It is the part of their body that brings money to them. So it is an important part of their body. So next is our clothes. So our clothes is a form of self-expression because it expresses who we are rather than we express our clothes. So we wear clothes that reflects us and depending on our mood. So if you feel happy, of course you're gonna be wearing colorful clothes, for instance. And if we are, neutral or we're just okay, then we can wear clothes that are with neutral colors. And clothes also could also affect our behavior. Like for example, if we are wearing hot clothes on a hot weather, of course we're gonna be irritable and annoyed. But if we wear or if you wear cool clothes on a hot weather, we would feel fresh and comfortable. So clothes can also affect social class. I mean, clothes can also reflect social classes of people. Like what brand of clothes are they wearing or how would they wear it? No, we could see celebrities all the time wearing very expensive or luxurious brands like Louis Vuitton or Supreme, some things like that. And next is immediate family. So immediate family, they're the ones who shape and influence and the development of our self identity. So our first teachers, of course, were our parents. And they taught us what's the best for us, and it is part of our personality that we have today. Different people have different personality depending on how they're raised, how they were taught, So we also invest usually in our family because we feel like we owe them, you know, in our lives. Especially for us Filipinos that we are very family oriented, and they're part of the reasons why we want to go to school, or why we want to be successful in the future, because we want to help our family. And what they do also affects us because we are attached to them already and we are part of them. Like for example, if our ate, or if our or if our kuya is successful and just recently graduated college, of course we're gonna feel victorious, or we're also gonna feel happy because they are our family and we feel happy for them. And lastly, we have our home. So our home is an extension of self because we can directly connect ourselves in it. As we all know, since we were a child, since we were born, our home is the one thing that remembers everything that we have done, you know, since we were born, that we ourselves could not even remember, or we could not even begin to remember. So that's why we have a saying, if only walls can speak, because it is the thing that captures every memory that we have, whether it's a positive or a negative memory. Sometimes we just want to ask our homes, or our house, that you know we want to remember everything that we have done since we were a child, because we want to experience again the the feeling of being a child, and the experience of uh, without having any problems at all. Like unlike today, our experiences inside the home were recorded and marked on particular parts and things in our home. So for example, since I was a kid, I remember always throwing anything on the wall of my parents' bedroom with a permanent marker. But until today, we did not care to remove it because, it is part of our memory and we could always talk about it, if we see that. So we didn't really get rid of it. So, it is part of our memory that we don't want to forget. And those are the four components of our material self. So again, we have the body. So the body is the part of ourselves that we cannot live without. The clothes. The clothes are the we express ourselves with our clothes. Immediate family. It is part of ourselves and it is connected to us. And lastly, our home. It is the one who captures everything from from childhood up until today in our adulthood. Uh, so thank you for listening.
Good day, everyone. So I'm gonna discuss the two subclasses of material self. So the two subclasses of material self are the body self and the extracorporeal self or the extended self. So for the body self, these are entities that are clearly described as an intimate part of who we are. It is concerned with awareness of one's bodily state. So body self is basically means our body. So, for example, a person may express, my arms feel heavy or my skin feels warm. So, these entitles are clearly an intimate part of who we are. So, the body self is in all of us. It is the opportunity we all must challenge the epidemic belief that by changing our bodies, we can change our lives. It is a way of seeing ourselves without self doubt comparison, and judgment. It is the chance to turn your body image inside out and explore much more deeply what our bodies hold and what they must teach us. So, by eliminating the body self, we can tap into the life force, health, and power that is inaccessible to us when we are focused on changing and or hating our bodies. So, for the extra corporeal self, according to Rosenberg in 1979, it has referred that the extracorporeal self as the extended self. So it includes all the people, places, and things that we regard ours. So the extracorporeal self is not the physical entities, rather, it is our psychological ownership. So, for example, a person may have a favorite chair she likes to sit in. So the chair itself is not part of the self. Instead, it is the sense of appropriation represented by the phrase, my favorite chair. So this is what we mean when we talk about the extended self. It includes the people, pets, possessions, places, products of our labors, and things that we regard as ours. So that's all for my part, and thank you for listening.
Effects of material possessions. So, what do we mean when we use the word obsess in regards to material things? To preoccupy or fill the mind of someone or something continually, intrusively, and to a troubling extent. We believe that being obsessed with material possessions is to have the primary focus of our minds and motivations being on material things. Although many disagree with the physiological point of view, saying that possession in materials are just another expansion of one's soul and can help with the growth and happiness. So, what is material possession? It refers to the property or belongings that are tangible. Basically, anything that you possess becomes your property and it is known as material possession. It is something that you can touch and keep safe for as long as you want. So example, cars, furnitures, accessories, and clothes. These are the common things that everyone thinks that they hear the term material possessions. Effects. It has been demonstrated that happiness is important for life satisfaction, health, longevity, and overall well being. Material possessions may increase an individual's happiness, but it will only last a short time before adaptation will occur, resulting in a decline in happiness. It has always been observed that material possessions bring happiness which is very short lived, also known as instant gratification, which means soon it will fade away, and once it does, you'll no longer be attached to those things. The possession of material things also indicates one's status in the society. These personal choices build one's material and economic self, which is an extension of his or her social identity. Is material possession important? For some people, material possessions are the things that make us happy. Others will argue that material things don't lead to genuine happiness. For me, no. We are always in search of the next best thing. When we've acquired something we want something else. It seems to be a never ending cycle. Who can tell when you'll be completely and fully satisfied? I'll tell you what, life is all about experience you gain. How can you carry yourself? How will you be able to love and forgive? All your material possessions are appealing in the sense that they promise you some kind of happiness. But is it really the case? Material possessions will come and go, but experience you will gain through actually doing something will be your forever. Thank you.
A pleasant day, sir. A pleasant day, classmates. I am John Romel Ripalda to share about a subtopic of economic and material self, which is materialism. So, according to Karl Marx and Engels, materialism means that the material world, perceptible to the senses, has objective reality independent of mind and spirit. So material world or material things is the actual things we can actually see, we can actually touch, we can actually feel with our senses. So it is a personal attitude which attaches importance to acquiring and consuming material goods. So we are based on being materialistic. For example, an example of materialism is explaining love in terms of material things. So there are relationships based that they based on gift or being materialistic rather than the time, love, or attention. So here is another example. An example of materialism is valuing a new car over friendship. So we are being materialistic in that one. And for example, when our parents gave us mobile phones, we sometimes appreciate the cell phone rather than the efforts of our parents to give us that. So the other one, which is compulsive buying disorder, which is to be discussed by Mr. Jude Matthew Sige.
Hi, I'm Jude Matthew Sige, and I'm going to report about compulsive buying disorder. Compulsive buying disorder, or also known as shopping addiction, from the word itself, is a mental health disorder. People with this disorder tend to shop excessively in order to avoid painful feelings or divert one's attention. So, when can we say that someone has compulsive buying disorder? Compulsive buying disorder is characterized by persistent, excessive, impulsive, and uncontrollable buying despite certain consequences like psychological, occupational, and financial aspects. A great movie example for this is The Confessions of a Shopaholic. In the movie, Rebecca, who is the protagonist, keeps buying and buying though she has a plenty of bills to pay. She becomes addicted to buying when it comes to the point that the statues in the mall move in her point of view. The causes of compulsive buying disorder are stress, loneliness, depression, and anxiety. These factors lead to psychological disorders or mental health disorders. In order to stop this disorder, self-discipline is needed to the following shown in the presentation. First, admit that you have a problem, ask for medical attention, shop with a list or with friends, get rid of your credit cards, avoid shopping application like Shopee and Lazada, and medias that makes temptation. And lastly, find healthy ways to deal with difficult feelings. And so before I end, I would like to leave this message. Do not be fooled into thinking that spending money will make you feel better. Avoid compulsive buying, save money, and thank you.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is an idea of psychology proposed by American Abraham Maslow in his 1943 paper, Theory of Human Motivation, in a journal Psychological Review. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a motivational theory of psychology psychological comprising a five-tier model of human needs, often depicted as hierarchical level within a pyramid. This is the pyramid that I mentioned earlier. The first is physiological needs. Example of the physiological needs is air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, and reproduction. And the second is safety needs. Example of the safety needs is personal security, employment, resources, health, and property. The third is love and belonging. The example of love and belonging is friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. The fourth one is esteem. The esteem example is respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, and freedom. And the last one is self-actualization. The example of the self-actualization is desire to become the most that one can be. And that is the 5-tier model of human needs. Thank you.